Hi guys, so I wanted to talk about a question I had from a patient just last week related to why letting the knee fall inward isn't necessarily an ideal position when you have knee pain, and particularly when you have knee osteoarthritis. Now, just a caveat on this little spiel is that letting your knee come in isn't necessarily a bad thing. But having your knee cave in every single time you move, either under load or you step or you pick something up or you squat or you lunge and your knee caves in against that additional stress isn't a great situation to be in. And the reason it's not a great situation to be in is that it's the only way that you're able to tolerate the position is to let the knee cave in. Now there's a reason that this happens, and the technical term for the position is called valgus collapse. Yeah, now valgus collapse is when your knee caves in. So I'll use the model in a second. So if this is your pelvis here, and you have your femoral heads here, femoral neck, and then the femur. Now, there's this angle that runs from out to in this way. Yeah, if there's this angle here, and that's called the Q angle. Oh, my pen's running out. The Q angle. Now, the Q angle in women is larger than it is in men, because of the width of the pelvis to allow for childbirth and so on. So it's more common to see a lot of young netballers with knee injuries, ACL problems, and we get a lot of female participants in our knee programs, probably for more than one factor than just the Q angle, probably partly because the guys tend to leave it a little bit longer too. But women have a greater Q angle, so they tend to collapse in easier than men do. However, that doesn't eliminate the men from doing that, right? So this Q angle. The reason I'm talking about the Q angle is that this is your skeleton, right? If this is your knee, here's your kneecap, in here, down, bottom of your shins. Now, the angle, if you imagine the force of gravity pushing downward, if you took away all of the muscular control, what's going to happen is that this angle here, the force pushing down, gravity, this angle is going to mean that this femur is going to want to shift to the middle. So you'll get this kind of collapsing of the knees in together. So they'll cave in towards each other if there was no muscles there to support the skeleton, right? So we just do this on a skeleton, boom, they'll collapse together, clunk, like this, the skeleton slumped look. Now, this same collapse happens when there isn't enough muscular control to meet the demands of what you're doing. So if you were to lift a really heavy weight, a squat for instance, and it was maximum or above the maximum, then you would be forced in that direction and you'd have to be you to work to control that position. If the maximum you can tolerate is sitting up out of a chair with your own body weight, then this is what's going to happen. It's going to push you to your edge, it's going to collapse in. Now, this is just a way for your body to get stable, right? Like when you bring everything to the middle, there's no control required. It's collapsed in, it's nice and stable. Problem with that is if we look at the knee, here, knee, this will be your right knee with your fibula and your tibia on the inside and your femur on the top. Now this is your kneecap in here. Now, if there's already a little bit of this angle coming from out to in, if you have some change to the cartilage surfaces in the knee through osteoarthritis, either medial or lateral, it doesn't matter, what's going to happen is when you collapse in, you cave in this way, the angle gets greater. I can't even bend the model this way. This is going to stretch open, so it's going to gap open the inside of the medial portion over here, and it's compressed the outside portion over here. Now that might feel better in the instance, like it might feel like it's more comfortable to load in that position, because if you have arthritic changes in here, it's going to take away some of that compression and it feels better. But what you're doing is you're spreading out those structures and pulling them under tension, and then as soon as you go to load again, they come back together and they're aggravated and irritated. On the counter side, on the outside, they're getting compressed and squashed and irritated too. So the stress you're alleviating on the outside, you're bumping around to the inside. Now, the third problem associated with that moving inward is the kneecap. Now the kneecap wants to glide nice and smooth, straight up and down. Through this, the quads come down in here, blend into this tendon, anchor off here. And they just want to slide up and down nice and smooth. Now, if you're caving in when you're doing that, if you're doing this and you're collapsing at the knee as you do this, this is twisting and rubbing and shifting to the side, and it's not moving straight up and down. So you can get quite a bit of irritation underneath the kneecap and cause this sort of aching, irritating sensation under the patella or the kneecap. So when you have a healthy knee, doing this and letting them cave in isn't the end of the world. It's not going to cause you any great deal of harm as long as it doesn't happen every single time you move. When it's being done as a compensatory mechanism, you're doing it to get away from some pain, or you're doing it to deal with weakness or challenges to your function, then it becomes a problem because you're just moving the stresses to other areas, causing a lot of aggravation in other areas, and at the same time irritating the aspect on the inside by stretching it out all the time and putting undue stresses on the meniscus, undue stresses on the medial ligaments and so on. So, what do you need to do in order to address that collapse? Well, it doesn't necessarily come from the knee. What we really want to focus on is controlling the position of the knee, yes. We need to make sure we're aware of the position of the knee. What we need to make sure is we're aware of, we take a focus to the foot, focus to the knee. We're going to consciously pay attention to where they are, the positions that your foot and your knee are in. But the muscles we're going to work in order to ensure that you can keep them in the position we want them in are up here. We want to really focus on these glute muscles up high. Yeah, so the backside muscles into your hamstrings, they're going to provide all the stability to hold onto the femur, hold onto your pelvis in a better position so that the knee can just relax, be a knee in the middle and not have to do the work of the glute up the top as well. So we're going to work the hip musculature, but we're going to have all of your attention and your focus on your position down here, because just strengthening this without improving your awareness or your conscious control of where your foot and knee position is only going to add more fuel to the irritation when you power up here and you don't know what's going on down here. So we're strengthening and we're raising awareness down below. So when we talk to you in the clinic about what to focus on, knee position, foot position, knee position, foot position, and your backside muscles are burning, now you know why.